Today, I'm talking to Joy Bender with Compass, a top luxury real estate agent and co-founder of her team, Ottman, Bender and Associates. When Joy started her business in San Diego, one of the most competitive and premier luxury markets in the country, she didn't know a soul. Most impressive about her luxury real estate business today is that she built it the way everyone said and says building a luxury real estate business is not possible. She did it with digital marketing. Today, Joy is San Diego's premier luxury real estate digital marketing expert. Until 2017, 100% of Joy's business, all luxury clients, came through her digital marketing. She has one-page ranking on Google for San Diego luxury real estate search inquiries and is a micro-influencer on Instagram with over 15,000 followers, and that's just to name a couple. Among her many accomplishments, she has also been named in the Wall Street Journal as a top California real estate agent. Today, Joy talks to me about how to do the impossible, how to break into luxury real estate digitally. Thanks for listening to the Jere Metcalf podcast, where top real estate agents tell how they do it. This podcast is to share knowledge for realtors and raise awareness for Give Back Homes, where real estate professionals work together for social good. Jet Centers Aviation, Bentley Atlanta, Legends Global, thank you for your sponsorship. All right, everybody, it's the Jere Metcalf podcast where top real estate agents tell how they do it. And today, from San Diego with Compass, is Joy Bender, probably one of the best real estate marketers out there in luxury real estate with digital marketing. Joy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jere.
So excited to have you on the show today to get to learn a little bit, or hopefully a lot, about how you do what you do. I know we hear a lot about internet leads, internet marketing. A lot of you know how it works for some people, not for me. It works definitely, I think, on streamlining lots of business. But in the luxury market, it's very hard to come by anything that works. And you have figured that out. As we get into that, tell us a little bit about how you got into the business in the first place, or why did you become a real estate agent? Give us a little bit of your story.
My career began in mortgage, and I actually started a website for first-time homebuyers in Minnesota back in, I think it was 2006, when people still weren't really even doing websites yet. And I was able to bring in, keywords like first-time homebuyer, Minnesota first-time homebuyer, those types of things, and drive traffic. And I became, towards 2009, 2010, the number one lender in the state for emerging markets. And then we made a decision to move to San Diego. And I thought, well, if I can do this same system for first-time home buyers, I wonder if I can replicate it with some adjustments for the luxury market. Because, I didn't know anyone in San Diego. I had no sphere of influence at all. So I ended up selling the website in Minnesota to banks that I had worked for. That was strictly for the SEO, which brought the leads. It wasn't for the website. The website was like a DIY WordPress. It was pretty ugly back then.
Wow.
And I started my first website in San Diego. My website's probably gone through 5 or 6 facelifts since 2012. But the first one was just a DIY WordPress site.
DIY WordPress site. So tell us a little bit about what that means for those of us who don't know.
There's multiple website providers out there for real estate agents. Anywhere from a WordPress or a template type website or one that you make yourself. And then there's other companies like Boomtown and Curator, Real Estate Webmasters. And I'm actually now with Sierra Interactive, which I'm happy to say is also one of the cheapest options out there.
Okay, great. So you really, everybody talks about this is a lead generating business, and you really figured out how to do it for luxury with digital marketing. So I think we already know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you this question anyway so that you can elaborate on it even more, and if there's anything to add to it. But obviously you're a top agent in San Diego. You've done very well, but what do you feel it is? Is it about you, or is it the digital marketing, or a combination of it? In such a competitive industry of being a real estate agent in the luxury market in San Diego, that gives you your competitive edge?
Well, I think the first thing when I moved to San Diego, I didn't know anything. I didn't know what La Jolla was versus Oceanside, or I didn't know any of the areas. So the first thing is as I built the website, I spent many hours writing the content and researching the different areas so that when we do get clients that come in and they want to buy an oceanfront property, I can take them all the way from Carlsbad down to La Jolla, and I know about each of those markets. So the starting point was like a PhD in the high-end markets in San Diego, and really, knowing
educating
where
yourself.
You can buy a $1 million house anywhere.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, it definitely had to craft our funnels. You speak differently with the high end. When you take any online lead training, they're like, call the lead immediately. I don't do that, which is completely counter against
Interesting.
what true internet lead training is. Our funnel sends out an immediate text to the lead when they register on our website. I ask them, are you looking for something gated or with an ocean view? An open-ended question. I mean, depending on what market you were in, you would ask them, a different type of question if you don't have the ocean. Maybe it's a lake view, maybe a single story or something like that. And I found that really helps getting them talking. And so that's the first text, and then the next day we send out an email. So it's a lot less aggressive than what they train for. I would call them regular online leads.
So basically you get the lead through the internet, and you get their cell number because they enter their information to get more information about the property. Is that right?
They're either asking about properties. Sometimes they just send a contact form and they're filling out their information, what they're looking for and their time frame. And then other times they pick up the phone.
Okay.
Back in 2012, when I started the website, it was common practice, and it still is to some extent today, but to backdoor the prospect. And what that means is the minute they land on your website and they try to assess a listing, a property, a pop-up comes up and it says, what is your email, your name, and your phone number? And that used to work really well, 2012 to like 2014, mid 2015. And now the internet user is much more savvy, and they're not as apt to fill out that contact information, and it really angers and turns off a lot of your traffic.
Exactly.
So now in gated content is also horrific for search engine marketing on Google, because if Google sees 99% of your traffic or 99.5% of your traffic bouncing off immediately because you're forcing them to register and give you their contact information.
Interesting.
You're not going to have good SEO.
Interesting. Okay, so tell us how you do it. How does this work?
One more time?
So the traditional way, or the old way that worked, was you've got a website, you have a pop-up screen pop up that gets them to log in to get more information. And a lot of websites are still doing that. There are two bad things about that. The one thing you don't want to do about that is you don't want to do it because people just go away and go find it on another website. And the other thing is when you do that and people go away, Google's not going to put you at the top of search engines anymore because they're going to see that people come in and bounce right back off. So they don't want to give people content they're not interested in. Is that right?
Yeah, there's about 200 or more SEO signals in Google. And so bounce rate is one of those, as is dwell time. And those kind of go hand in hand. Dwell means how long your user is on your website.
Okay.
And so, or on a specific page. So if you are, doing that, your bounce rate is going to be super high and your dwell time is going to be 20 seconds versus.
So it's, what did you call it?
Around 2 minutes.
So there's two things. One is dwell time. Remember, you're the PhD. I'm in preschool. So you've got dwell time, and then what's the other thing?
The bounce rate. So
bounce rate.
Those
okay.
are like 2 of 200 signals that make up SEO, but they're very important, and they're one thing that a lot of real estate agents do wrong. I think that when we see websites like Zillow and Redfin, let's just pick on Zillow, but those leads that those agents are buying, those leads are all buyers that have physically entered their information or called in and said, I want more information.
Right.
And so, heading into 2019, 2020, that's really the way it has to go, where we earn that phone call or that lead inquiry.
I like that. You earn the inquiry.
The other metric you have is returning user. So if you have provided information, they like using your platform, they'll bookmark your website and keep coming back to when maybe they are ready to, instead of someone inquiring and filling out a form and they're like 3 years out from buying a house.
So a couple of things on that is that you have figured out how to get traffic to your site and to stay on your site and to come back to your site. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. And then, I use long tail keywords, things like San Diego horse properties, San Diego gated communities, golf course homes, luxury. I'm on page 1 of Google for all of those search terms.
Okay.
And, that's where primarily my traffic comes from.
Okay.
To be on page 1 of Google for Atlanta homes for sale or San Diego homes for sale would be extraordinarily difficult because page 1's dominated by Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, Movoto. And then typically you're going to have towards the bottom of page 1, like a Century 21, a Remax, or a Sotheby's, a national company.
So we're talking about
not a lot of room on page 1 for those big keywords.
So we're talking about a lot of things right now. We're talking about dwell time. First of all, we've got your visitors on your site and the things that are important. And then we've got the aspect of getting them to your site. But to back up a little bit, let's talk about your website. So what is it about your website that people stay? Because really what you're telling me, and tell me if I'm getting this wrong, is you're actually competitive to Zillow, because Zillow is where everybody goes. Is that where they go in your market, or?
No, of course they do. And as I talk to other agents across the country, they're like, well, I don't want to build a website because Zillow's the place for the buyers to go.
Right.
But what they don't understand is the user will actually get past those listings on Google sometimes, and they're looking for the local expert. Clearly I found that. The other thing about my website is I've created a lot of easy searches. I use both a sidebar and a top navigation menu and price point brackets. And so there's lots of different ways that the user can click through on the site. It's very complex. And if you compare that to other community pages, you'll see that if there's so many different options and it's sorting it to a single story or a home with a pool or a home with an ocean view, you can kind of see where someone would stay captivated.
Interesting. So you've built a site that you're using SEO optimization and understanding, and your expertise and your understanding of the high-end buyer specifically in your market. Is that what gets traffic to your site?
Yeah. Well, what gets traffic to the site is that I've built the SEO over the last 8 years, and I also use
so only 8 years, everybody. It's only going to take you 8 years. Just keep going.
Google and Bing. So I also do PPC, and there's a very specific strategy behind that and how I set those ad programs up.
Okay.
And then SEO. One of the primary reasons why it's difficult to succeed with SEO is you need backlinks, and you can't just call up Inc. or Wall Street Journal or Forbes or any top blogging platform and say, would you please write an article about me and give me a backlink? It doesn't work that way.
Right.
So I've been successful with that and blogging and doing guest posting and that sort of thing.
So you've been successful with that. What have you been successful with?
Guest posting and getting backlinks. So backlinks are, in quality backlinks, not just your friend backlinking to you that owns the beauty salon down the street. Quality authority websites backlinking to your site when you're writing content that is relevant and they find useful. Okay,
so now we've got a lot of topics that I'm gonna go back again because you understand all of this, and I'm still trying to learn just how to tie my shoes. So we've got getting people to your site. On that. And getting people to your site, there are two ways. The ways to do that, if you had to chunk them into categories, are SEO optimization, and then there are backlinks. But when you do the SEO optimization is you being someone who understands the market, understands the language to use, understands San Diego Homes is not going to do it because everybody's got that in their SEO optimization. But picking specific language and specific things that buyers, luxury buyers, are going to search that are going to put you at the top of those searches in SEO optimization. Would that cover that part of it?
Yeah, the two ways would be search engine optimization, which includes the backlinks and all of those other factors, and pay-per-click, which is the Google of Bing advertising platform.
Wow.
So if you were to Google, well, I think depending on, I advertise on the Google pay-per-click in the top 300. Forbes put out a list of the top 500 zip codes or 300 zip codes in the country. And so I basically, those are what I've uploaded to my pay-per-click campaign. So depending on what market one person's in, if they were to Google, La Jolla Homes for Sale or La Jolla Real Estate, I'm probably going to see my website right now if they're in a higher cost market. I kind of stopped at the average price point of $1.2 million, would be, those are the zip codes with an average household of, 1.2
so how
value.
So you just said, how do you differentiate who's seen, how do you know on the pay-per-click, how do you know what price point they're in to make sure the right price point's getting that?
Because Forbes put out a magazine article online with the top most expensive zip codes in the country. So those are the zip codes I advertise Rancho Santa Fe, La Jolla, and Del Mar properties to. Because those people, they have a house value of at least $1.2 million.
I gotcha.
We just sold an oceanfront last year. It was an online lead for $4.925. They came from Nashville, and their house in Nashville was only $650,000. So having said that, someone with a $1 million value in Chicago or wherever could be retiring right now, or just sold his business and looking for a $3 to $4 million property.
Exactly. Okay, so getting traffic to the site, SEO optimization, pay-per-click, and backlinks. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about, because remember, first of all, define what a backlink. So a backlink is, there's an article on Forbes magazine that you've written that links people back to your site. Is that a good way of defining a backlink?
That's a good way to explain it, yeah.
Okay.
So the way to start out, there's actually two websites that agents have access to for free. And one of those is Active Rain. You just set up an account. They have a paid version as well as a free version. And Realty Times is another one as well. Active Rain's domain authority is around a 60.
So, and I believe wait, let's slow down. Joy's too smart for me, y'all. So just, Joy, you got to slow down. Tying my shoes, and you're flying airplanes over here. So we've got Realty Times, and what was the other one?
Active Range.
Active Range. Okay. Yeah. So keep Realty Times and Active Range. So keep going with what that was to get backlinks.
So those are two platforms that we as agents can sign up for free. You can write a article about something. An example is on multiple offer situations and escalation clauses. That's like a topic.
Oh, that's a great topic. Don't even go there because we may have to talk about that on the show, and we don't have time. Next interview. No, keep going.
You write an article on that on your blog.
Okay.
Preferably, you should be writing at least 1,200 to 1,500 words, if not 2,000 words in your article. Some of the articles I've written on my blog have taken over 30 hours to write, to go back to it and keep adding to it. So I wrote one about 28 things to know about buying an equestrian property, and that thing literally took me 30 hours, but it is the best article.
What a great article. Yeah, I love that.
So anyway, so then say you take your 28 things to know about buying an equestrian property, and then you write a 500 little summary of it, two of them, one for Active Rain and one for Realty Times, and you backlink to your 28 things to know about on your your money-making website.
Yeah.
And that's the start of SEO. So let me explain domain authority, because that's the number one way to kind of, as an agent, measure where you stand. If you Google Moz, MOZ, domain authority, you can find the website.
Wait, say that again. If you Google what?
It's Moz, M-O-Z.
M-O-Z.
And then domain authority.
Domain authority.
And you'll find the link to check your own website or to check your competitor's website.
Wow.
Domain authority goes from 0 to 100.
Okay.
So the 100 would be like a Facebook or a YouTube. 90 would be like a Huffington Post. They're probably more like a 92. ESPN is probably an 85 or a 90. Most real estate agents are a
Yeah.
0 to a 10. You've got a few of them in the 10 to 20 mark that were most likely accidental backlinks, meaning maybe they had a
Wow.
listing that got a little bit of press, and so their local news station might have written an article about it, and they got a backlink, and they don't even know they got one. And then the 20 to 25 mark is where if you just did your little guest posting strategy as shared with Active Brain and Realty Times, you should be able to get to like a 20 to 22 just by doing that, once every 2 weeks, for example.
Wait, now give us that
then,
example one more time. I'm slow.
So if you were to just write
This
one
is
nice
awesome.
blog article of 1,500 words, and then use Realty Times and Active Brain to send your summaries to and backlink to your article, you should, if you did that for 6 months, like once every 2 weeks, you should be able to at least get your domain authority up to like a 22 to 23, I mean, that at a minimum. So those sites really do help.
Wow.
To start ranking for anything in your market, even some of the more obscure neighborhoods with maybe only 20 to 25 homes, you probably need a 25 to like a 28 is a mark to start ranking on page 1 of Google.
This is fascinating.
There's very few real estate agents that are between like the 40 to the 60 mark, and 60 is kind of like.
So can we ask where you are?
The hardest to get.
Where's your site?
I'm at a 41.
And are you? So everybody's dying to know what is your website?
It's luxury, and then SoCal, SoCal, Realty, REALTY.com.
So wait, say that again. So it's www.
Luxury. SoCal, SoCal.
.com.
And then Realty, REALTY.com.
Okay, awesome. Luxury, SoCal, Realty.com. And so that's Luxury Southern California Realty is what that's for, right?
Yes.
That's incredible. Okay, so, I mean, like, the minute I think I'm grasping what you're saying, you've got like 10 more things to add, which is awesome. I love it. We started with just getting people to stay on your site, but oh, by the way, they need to get to your site. How do we get them to your site? No, by the way, in that we need to consider domain authority. So domain authority, we're talking about domain authority, and I know you've told us some great ways to get it, but is there like a way that you can define it or define a domain authority or what it means?
So it's a metric that Moz created, but it indicates how well your website should perform in the search engine.
Okay.
So if your website only has like a 12 domain authority, you're not going to perform in the search engines until you start getting backlinks and working on some of the other things, which means you will have no traffic.
Wow, okay.
Domain authority is also an indicator of natural organic traffic.
Okay, great. So natural organic traffic versus traffic that you get through search engines, which one's more important, or does it matter?
So the pay-per-click traffic is where you can put your neighborhood pages. Like I don't rank on page 1 of Google for La Jolla Homes for Sale, Pacific Beach Homes for Sale, and I'm on middle of page 2.
Okay.
The problem with page 2 is like SEO say that's where you can hide a dead body because no users anymore go to page 2.
Nobody makes it to
page 2. If you're not on
page
page 1, you're not even in the game.
Yeah.
And so that's where pay-per-click comes into play because you can advertise those keywords. It would literally probably take you $500,000 in budget to get on page 1 of Google for with an SEO budget over, say, 24 months. So you would, you can do pay-per-click, and then you can bid so that you're in the first 2 to 3 positions on Google for those types of search terms. So it kind of works hand in hand.
Yeah.
And helps you target keywords that you're just really going to struggle ranking for.
I have a question for you. So a lot of times, like when and tell me, because I'm kind of reading the minds too of what people listening to this might be thinking, but pay-per-click, usually you can tell who's pay-per-click and who's not. So a lot of times, like if I search Google, I see the ones at the top. I'm like, those look like they paid. I don't want to click on the ones that paid to be here. I want to click on the ones I know are good. And I'll even go down to look at, is that, and I just know intuitively what I see. Do you find that, I mean, it sounds like it works anyway, or what's the difference, or what's kind of your feedback to that thought that I know a lot of listeners might be having?
So there are some users that are super savvy with search There's even a web browser
Did
called
you just call me super
DuckDuckGo or
savvy?
something.
I keep interrupting you, but I'm having fun with you. So go ahead. So super savvy, but keep going because you were giving us some more.
They're super savvy
Yeah.
with search, so they're doing what you're saying. They will not click on the ads
Yeah.
because they want to go down to the organic search results.
Yeah.
But that really only truly is a small percentage of people. You know, if you're on the go or you're just sitting down and you Google it, and it's like the first thing. A lot of
Especially on your
people
phone.
just click on it.
On your phone, less shows up, right? So on your phone, it probably, I would think, and it sounds like you get a lot of success from that.
Well, I don't advertise. So pay-per-click, like we could do another whole hour on Google pay-per-click.
I know.
I don't advertise on mobile.
Okay.
I found that the mobile user is not as serious with their intent when they're searching. And Google would be happy to take $10,000 a month from you for advertising. So unless you start cutting things out or minimizing your bid on certain
you're going to
things,
spend
like,
a lot of money.
I don't advertise 24 hours a day either. I only advertise when people are awake because, you know, why would you waste your spend because you're probably not getting serious searchers. So
and what hours of the day are people?
Out.
Yeah, because I find like social media, it's like 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. Is that, and you know better than I do because you're a social media whiz too. Or do you just do during work hours or?
Well, I cut it off to about 11 o'clock Pacific time.
Okay.
Because, you know, and then for East Coast, which we get a lot of traffic from East Coast, but that traffic, you know, runs till like 1, 2 in the morning. I also adjust my bid for tablet. I adjust it down. I find the most serious searchers are those using a desktop. And the other reason is the website or my website will perform better on desktop because when it's on mobile, things start falling down. And on desktop, it's a wider parameter where there's more, you know, even the navigation menus are easier to use.
Okay.
Even though my site is 100% mobile friendly, it's easier to do a more in-depth search when you're on desktop.
And people are usually more focused.
Even if you're searching on Zillow from the desktop, it's easier to do like a really good search for the homes for sale versus on your app or your phone.
So what percentage of your clients come from this digital marketing that you're doing to drive people to your site?
So up until 2017, it was a 100% online lead.
Wow. Your business was 100% online?
In 18, we're now getting past clients. We're getting referrals.
Wow.
So again, I was able to break into the high end in San Diego without knowing a single human, and then stay consistent for 8 years using online leads. So you know, it was really interesting because I got a lot of criticism for it when I first came here because, you know, I was this girl from Minnesota and what the heck do I know? And I really didn't know anything. But the criticism was like, you should be doing farming, you should be doing this or that. So I really, really love that book, The One Thing, because it shows you that if you do one thing.
The One Thing by Gary Keller, everybody.
Invest all your money in that, invest all of your time in that, and you're going to be successful first. But if you start trying, and I actually did in 2016, I strayed off the track a little bit. I started doing some Zillow. I started doing some Smart Zip. I spent like $35,000 on Smart Zip, the algorithm nailing type program.
Yeah.
And it none of it worked. And then everything started falling apart. And so now I'm back to like the one thing, which is my website. You know, up until 2016, I was also buying leads from other sources. And it wasn't until I started understanding where are they getting those leads? Well, they're getting them the same way as I am by advertising it. You know, and a lot of those companies, they use Facebook and social advertising to drive leads, and then they charge you $60, $150 a lead or whatnot. But the social lead is not for high end at all. I've never heard anyone ever say they can get, you know, consistent high end, you know, $1.5 million to $3 million deals from Facebook ads.
Wow, good to know.
Google though is where it's at for, you know, we were just out with $5 to $6 million clients from Bellevue 2 weeks ago. I mean, I would say earlier on in the first couple of years, we weren't getting that level of leads. And I think it was because I hadn't really sold homes at that price point before. Yeah. So I do think that some experience does help. Yeah. You know, what do you kind of researching when I pick up the phone.
Why do you think because you said Google the Google search words or Google SEO, that's where it is to generate the high-end leads. Is that what, just to make sure we got that right?
Just for high-end, for luxury.
Okay, so
clients.
Right, so I love this because I don't like mine is a few things about what you said though, because we're getting so much information. I feel like there's like a water hose or a fire hose like coming at me, which I love, but to make sure I'm actually taking it in. Isaac's laughing, but like okay, so now I'm losing my train of thought because there is so much coming at me and I'm loving it, but getting this information in, like, well, this is what I was gonna say. The one thing. So I love what you said about the one thing. So there's a couple of things about that. The one thing for you is your website and your understanding of digital marketing. And that's where every time you strayed from that, your business suffered. Every time you went back to that, you got even better at it and your business grew. Now, that's incredible. Correct me anywhere where I'm not stating what's correct about your business and how you've done it. Another thing is that you're talking about social media is not where it is, which is funny because I would have guessed that it was, only because social media is a place where people interact, but Google is. So what is it about Google, or why is it, do you think Google is where it is versus social media?
So, and I'm coming from the point of reference of San Diego. So my average client is probably 55 to 60 years old. Mm-hmm. A lot of them are buying that second home, or they've just sold their business after so many years, and now they have many millions to buy something. Those people aren't on Facebook that much. Mm-hmm. That age bracket. Instagram, the same. Yeah. You know, they might have an account, but when you're in that other age bracket, you know, I imagine if you're in LA, it might be different, you know, because you do have a lot more young money there. But for San Diego and in other areas where the target market to be able to buy luxury properties is at least a minimum of 50 on average. Yeah. That's kind of why social media, you know, to try to get leads is just a difficult road.
And think about this. When I go to shop for shoes, I don't go to social media to find, or whatever it is, because buy something online. I'm saying shoes. I don't even buy shoes online because it's whatever. But or some people do Zappos. It worked. But when I go online to find something, I don't go into my social media account to find what I'm looking for. And it might happen to pop in front of me, and I might happen to get triggered by it. But most often, if I engage and make a purchase on the internet, it's even, and I'm not 55, y'all, but y'all. The longer I do this podcast, the more Southern I get. I'm like, hell, y'all, I've been doing this forever. Y'all could just hear it all. But when I go on the internet, I go on, like if I'm going on to find something, I'm not going on social media. I'm going to Google, because I'm going to type in Google exactly what I want, and I'm going to read it and research and hone in on where I found it on Google, not on social media. Do you think maybe that might just, and this is me just intuitively hearing what you have to say and all the different reasons, because I know a lot of people do have success with social media. But go ahead.
There's a term for that. The term is intent. So when you're on Facebook or Instagram, your intent is to look at your friends and like family posts and comments. Your intent isn't to buy a house or to buy a weight loss program, but you accidentally might be introduced to that by a sponsored ad. Versus when you're on Google searching 30-day weight loss plan,
you've already got a mission. You're already on the mission
in your search.
Yeah. Makes a big difference.
That's why I prefer that method better, because the person's got intent, you know, behind it.
That's, I mean, I like, now that you've said it to me and I've thought through this, I'm like, it's so obvious that that's the way to go. But I would have always thought otherwise. And you hear so much about, and not that I think social media is still great, but I think social media is a positioning and branding, especially from what you're saying. Like,
I agree. It definitely, you still need it. And I did make that mistake for the first 5 years. I mean, I just got on Instagram in 2016, at November 16. Right. Because I had that in my head. My clients aren't on social media, and they kind of still aren't really actively on there. Yeah. But you do need it for your brand. And so I definitely regret missing out on building up an audience for last 6 years prior to that, when I did nothing
Wow.
It definitely supports your brand. And it's
once you engage the client and you get that lead on Google and on your website, once they get to, that's a way to stay in front of them. Engage with them on Instagram. So let's go into social media for just a couple of minutes. And then I want to do a quick overview of everything because this is so much information. But you are also probably not giving yourself enough credit for your knowledge and expertise on the social media end of digital marketing. Tell us how you use social media for your business.
So I don't really pay much attention to Facebook. I post to post. Facebook.
That's where the 55-year-olds are, Joy. I don't know what you're thinking. So keep going.
Pay to play type of thing.
Yeah.
That, if you post something, you have to put money behind it for people to see it, even if you do have fans on your Facebook business page. So I still go through it robotically, just do it, but it doesn't really move the needle. The two things that move the needle for me that I'm obsessed with on social media now, and again, both platforms I completely was non-existent until 2016, 2017, Instagram and Pinterest. So for Instagram, really understanding how hashtags work and, how your feed should look and the aesthetics and the theme and all of that. Instagram's kind of more of a visual collection of your images. And then Pinterest actually plays hand in hand with my website and SEO. On my blog, I've got quite a bit of home decor type articles. They perform really, really well on Pinterest. And so one might be like, okay, are you closing $1 million deals with Pinterest? No, I'm not. But it's kind of that growth everywhere mentality. Yeah. I only have right around 3,000 followers on Pinterest. And I have almost 1 million impressions of my content because I have, there's a whole science to Pinterest. I've taken 3 courses on it actually. It's about keywording your boards, keywording your photos, and your descriptions of your pins. It doesn't have anything really to do with how many followers you have, which for other social media platforms, it does have something to do with how many followers you have. And you could find followers, or you could find accounts on Pinterest that have 30,000 followers, and I have my content being seen by more people than they do. So Pinterest is just a good way for you to try to get your blog out there. I mean, you never know if someone's looking at a beach house home decor article that maybe they're thinking about buying a beach house in the next 2 years.
So Pinterest. You said something a few sentences ago about your Pinterest account goes hand in hand with your site and your SEO. So how is that? How does that work? What did you mean by that?
Primarily because it drives traffic.
So
a lot of traffic. I get
so when you're using Pinterest the way you use SEO, people see your Pinterest and it takes them to your website, even though don't necessarily have the intent.
The pins go directly to the website. So I just launched the new website. Literally,
we got to do 10 interviews, Joy, because this is so much information. This is awesome. But keep going. Yeah.
Okay, so I just launched the website, so I've been working on a bunch of things since I've launched it. But the next step, I would say probably by next week, is you can start pinning the listings from your website, especially the ones that are going to be around for a while. Those listings that are going to be like a 6 to 12 month sales time. And you can start pinning those from your website too. And actually, I have a group board I started for Compass agents on Pinterest, so I'd be happy. Maybe we can put the link on when you put this out, the link to it. They just have to,
So what is this again? What are we putting the link out to again?
It's a group board. So group boards are one way to.
Is this on the Compass Is this on Compass Workplace?
No, I created a board for Compass agents. The only member I think is Janie Coffey in Jacksonville right now.
And that's on Pinterest.
But the point of it is a group board helps because I have followers. Janie has followers. It helps someone who doesn't have very many followers.
That's so smart. Oh my God, I love that. And Janie's the only follower.
Kind of a way to increase exposure by piggybacking on other people.
No, I love it. That's so generous of you to put that out there for all of us. Everybody not at Compass, please keep listening to the show. We'll figure something out. But, okay. Oh my gosh, there's so much here. Okay. Now, I'm going to I want to ask you a couple more questions about the social media, and then I swear we're going to do this review and ask my final 3. But so you Facebook you use, but you just use it because it's there and there are people on it, but you're a little bit more methodical in that. You really focus on Instagram and Pinterest. And those are really great for branding. But Pinterest, it sounds like you get a lot of exposure through that by sharing with other people or sharing Pinterest members and groups and things like that. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Pinterest is they make it really easy for anyone to sign up an account and start pinning.
Okay.
And if they don't really take the time to understand how the platform works and how to create their boards and what they need to be doing in their boards,
okay,
they're not going to be successful on it from a business standpoint, and it'll be more of like a toy, and you can play around and save.
Well, I think most of it, and I don't think people realize what you're telling us. Most people and my understanding is like Pinterest is just a cute little toy, but apparently there's a lot of power behind Pinterest. Can you sum it up in like one sentence or two, or kind of like the takeaway on Pinterest and what it's for and what it's about, and
it's
how
a search engine. So
okay.
I think that's the first thing that folks don't understand.
Okay.
It's its own search engine with its own algorithm, and
wow,
it's
okay,
based on keywords just like Google is. So
okay,
we probably to understand Pinterest more, we'd almost have to do like a live demo thing to try to understand it, because it's like hard to talk through it. But let me just give you an example.
Okay.
If you went in the search engine for Pinterest and you typed in the word real estate, underneath that will populate a whole row of words. And one of those first words is probably marketing. I know real estate agents is another one. Real estate. There's just those are the key words. That's your key to know how to set up your board. So you can do it in your community too. So if you do San Diego, then also, this wasn't 2 sentences, I apologize, but you want to make sure whatever one keyword you want to rank for is in your name, in your bio, in your little pin description as you write curated by with your name and Atlanta for you, Jere. And when you click your town that you want to rank for, like San Diego, it'll also give you a whole set of boards that you can set up. So for San Diego, what to do in San Diego, things to eat, things to do, San Diego vacation, those are all how you should set your boards up. So your board would be San Diego, or things to do in San Diego is one board. And so that's kind of, it tells you, if you start to understand the algorithm, like how to set up your board.
Wow. So you set up your board to appeal to people who might be moving to San Diego, really, and do it in a way that it's appealing to them.
I set up my boards to be popular, and then from there, like food articles don't really do as much good. Like I don't do that much food, but like they're fun too, the pins for food. But I set up a lot of realtor boards, a lot of real estate boards, a lot of San Diego boards, and then I have a lot of home decor boards, and that's the direction I've taken my blog. And you keep
up with all of that stuff? Or do you have somebody do that for you?
I do it myself. So it all goes back into that one thing.
Okay. So you really love this, and you're really good at it.
It's just what I do.
It's awesome. Now, what do you think about some of the big names, the other big names like LinkedIn, Twitter? What's another one, Isaac? Isaac, what's another one? LinkedIn, Twitter. No, I would say, or what do you think about the other? Like LinkedIn is a big one, and Twitter is probably a big one. What do you think about those?
So Twitter, the best way to use that is to do a buffer subscription, which would put your tweet out every hour. The problem with Twitter is that your post disappears so fast. And that's why I love Instagram, because if you do your Instagram right, your post could last in the Explorer, the hashtag feed, for a week. Your tweet is gone in like 5 minutes. So I would say that I use Twitter if I do a new blog article, because you want it to get out there. But I just don't focus on it. And then LinkedIn, it depends on how you set up your LinkedIn. I'm connected to super high profile people on LinkedIn. So it wouldn't be a good idea for me to put articles up. Like some real estate agents are only connected to other real estate agents, and they use it more as like a referral situation between each other. And so they're having a different conversation. So LinkedIn, it depends on who you're connected to.
It's like LinkedIn, you need your strategy.
You need a strategy depending on who you're connected to. And if you're connected to all these Fortune 500 CEOs, you got to be a little bit more cautious with what you certainly wouldn't really put up on there. You're going to have an open house this weekend. That's not really very great thing. So you see what I mean?
Right.
But if your audience is like you're connected to 700 realtors throughout the country, then maybe you just wrote an Inman article about 10 things to know to be successful in real estate. You can put that on your LinkedIn. I wouldn't put that on my LinkedIn because I'm connected to these business entrepreneurs, and that would just be a silly article.
Okay, I gotcha. All right, so you've got, this is a job. All of this, I thought I did a lot of stuff online. This is great. So you've got this website that literally generates enough business to support a top team in the country and in San Diego, and a luxury team in generating business. And you've got all of these other avenues. But really, I think everything is centered around going back to the website. Is that true? Is that kind of?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So in generating this business, once you get these leads, there's generating leads, but then there's like, okay, now we've got to actually win the business. So you were going a little bit into when you generate a lead, because the leads probably for the most part come through the website.
Right. And when you're doing it more high end, I'm not looking for volume. So if I got 1 to 2 leads a week, which is what I get now.
It's a lot.
I used to get up to 100, but that was when I had a team, and I just took too much time away from my production.
Well, that's where I was going with this.
Them with their medium level leads. For me, you're constantly looking for off market opportunities to bring them expertise on things that other agents don't have. For example, we have oceanfronts here in San Diego that are on the bluff, and so I'm very familiar with the seawalls, caissons, and bluff erosion. And so when you're bringing that type of higher level information that you can send to the leads, they're like, okay, this chick knows everything about oceanfronts. It's done.
Okay, so just going back over you've got these ways of getting people to your site. You've got a design that gets them to stay when you get there. And then what compels them to actually reach out, and what happens when they reach out?
So one of the things that is another consumer and a user metric is color. And it's something that a lot of us don't think about, but there's that whole psychology of color. You can Google it, and you can kind of see some of the infographics done about it. So first thing is you want your buttons on your website that say, call me, talk to me, inquire, to have certain colors that of course need to be on brand, but need to pop out. And so that's one of the biggest mistakes I see on agents' websites is the call to action is very weak and understated. So that's the first thing, is your call to actions need to be all over your website and if you think about it, you go back to websites like Lululemon or other top brands that are using, digital marketing, you'll see how compelling their call to action to buy now is, or chat, or put something in the shopping cart. You have to use those same when you're designing your website, or when you're looking for a website provider.
Okay, so once they contact you, what happens?
So I use Follow Up Boss. I've used Follow Up Boss for the last 6 years.
Follow Up Boss. Okay.
It's a CRM. That's where that first text goes out that asks them if they're looking for something with an ocean view or gated. And again, I just picked an Apple.
And that's just automated. That just goes out.
That is automated. Even if
and that's immediate.
Right now, I don't. Yeah. And then a lot of times they answer back. It was like 11 o'clock this week, and I was like trying to go to bed, and this guy's like trying to talk to me. and I'm like, so it's a little frustrating sometimes because you can't ever turn it off if someone's like, what if they're there. And, he was looking for an ocean view home in La Jolla at the 2 to 2.5 million mark. And so we ended our conversation. So I sent a follow-up email in the morning, and then I've got a pocket listing coming up next week that I'll be listing that I think he'll have some interest in. So being able to bring them really cool things that are, just sending them updates on the MLS is one key to conversion. If I found mailing is great. I buy those note cards like papyrus at the mall. I think they're like $8 a note card. But if Follow Box does a really good job.
Papyrus is my favorite too, by the way. Yeah.
Bringing in the social profile of the user, so you immediately know if this guy's like a top attorney in New York. And also, we do get like jokers on our website, so you'll know that this guy is like a nobody, and you need to like move on.
And you do that by going back and searching them, or how do you do that?
Yeah, it's the Follow Box kind of helps you.
Oh, gotcha.
Kind of see. Yeah, okay. if it's, for example, that guy was a top cardiologist here not in San Diego, he's up in San Francisco. And so it has a button, you can push it and you go to his Facebook and he's like, cardiologist. So if you wanted to, you could mail a handwritten note card to his office. The hospitals are more difficult, but let's just say it was a law firm. That's a little easier. You could mail a handwritten note card with your business card and brochure.
Yeah.
So that's another, you're not going to get that from a Zillow Premier agent typically. They're not going to mail you a piece that costs $10 to $12 to put out in the mail. Yeah. So that's another conversion strategy.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, got it. All right, so I'm going to close out with my final 3 questions, which aren't all about digital, except it'll kind of get back to that. But before I do that, there's so much to say, but is there anything else you want to add on to? Basically it's generating traffic to the site, engaging traffic on the site, and then following up when they engage. And then we start off with the whole process of actually becoming the real estate agents, which we won't get into today. But on how things go on that part of which is huge for people who want to use you as an agent, because you've got what can you do that nobody else can do? Well, that's it. I mean, that's huge. But what else do we need to know in that chunk of your business and what you're doing on digital marketing? Lots.
I think knowing what you're talking about, I think it's really hard for newer agents to start out if they don't spend the time learning.
Yeah.
Learning, like if someone's online and they're like, we're looking to retire in San Diego and we're looking for a gated property and our budget's 2.5 to 3.2. Yeah. You better be able to say right away, well, these are the 4 areas I suggest that we start looking in.
Yeah.
You have to have that knowledge and that confidence. So I think that taking the time to really understand your market, almost like the first step, and being willing to do that.
I love that you say that. I think there are a lot of people that come into business and real estate agent or otherwise and go, okay, I'm just going to go get online and make money. The internet's going to be my money tree. And you've got to be behind it with your value and your knowledge and what you have to offer, especially in our business. Okay, so final 3. What would you say in your career, whether it's related to digital or otherwise, is the most impactful book that you've read and in your business?
The best book?
The best book. What would you tell us to recommend we read? What's the one book? What's the book that's most impacted your career?
I would really go back to the one thing, because maybe your one thing is open houses, and maybe you do 3 open houses a week and you have this whole strategy for invitations to the open house and giveaways when they get there and follow up when they leave.
Yeah, and go deep with that.
Whatever it is, you have to do it and go big on it. Yeah. And I think one of the mistakes that real estate agents make is that there's so much bright, shiny objects in our face at all times. You're constantly getting calls. Advertise here, do this promotion. And if you keep following all of that, you're going to dilute your resources and you might end up with not much. Versus if you put all of your time and your resources in one thing, whatever it is that you're comfortable with, you're more apt to have success.
And go with one thing and go big with that one thing. Don't go big with a little bit of everything. Do a lot of one thing. I love that.
Yeah.
What is in this business, what has been the one tool that you have found most, again, impactful, or that you would most recommend using? And for you, there are a lot of them.
I really would have to say Follow Boss, because I'm doing those internet feeds. I can think of 2 deals that closed thanks to Follow Boss. One of those, I was like 2:00 in the afternoon and I was sick and I was sleeping, and the client was a very type A personality, and he started texting right away on that text. And literally by the next day, he was here from Lake Tahoe looking at $3 million properties in La Jolla. But one would think that if that text hadn't gone out to him immediately when he signed up on the website, because he does have such a short he might have jumped to a different website or a different agent to get his answers. And then another time, really cool story. I couldn't get a hold of the lead. I didn't know who she was. We were super slammed. We get really busy like the June, July, August with the out of town buyers.
Yeah.
And she answered one of the Follow Boss drip emails, and Follow Boss will come out with a buyer engagement emails list. You can customize those to fit your market and fit your price points that you're working in. So she answered back probably 3 weeks after coming into our system. It asked, something about your budget, and she said, I don't have one. And typically when someone says that, they're not real. They're fake, and we just get a lot of those down here, people that are just completely not qualified at all. It turned out that they were the highest sale that we've ever had for $16 million.
Wow.
Thanks to that email that, that one email, and she'd gotten many others that she had ignored. And, it was after that closing, I'd asked her, and she told me she had 20 agents running after her, but I was like the only one left 2 to 3 months later when she was finally ready to start looking at properties. And so,
because it was just emailing her every month, and it was things that you had already.
And it's automated. It's automated. I mean, you set the funnel up once, and you can keep tweaking it or maybe adding a video to it later on. But for the most part, the system's set up, and it goes, and it's been the same system for the last 6-7 years. I haven't changed it.
That's awesome. Okay, last question. If there's one thing you would want to be sure that I and everybody listening takes away from this interview, what would it be?
I feel really strongly about websites. Agents can spend anywhere from $2,000 to $50,000 for a website. And before they spend that money, they really have to think about what it is that they want it to do. If they just want a business card website because they're already famous in their market and they're Googling their name, then that's a different strategy. But if they have any reason that they want to make that website make money for them and bring in clients, they really have to look at it with different lenses than other websites that are more meant to be a portfolio or a flashy business card type wow site.
And you gave us the platform. I'm supposed to be closing out now, y'all, but I know everybody's thinking this because I am. What's the platform that you use for your website?
I use Sierra Interactive.
Sierra?
$500. Yeah, Sierra Interactive. They charge you $500 to get your site going, and you'll have it up in about 4 weeks. And then it's only $3.99 a month.
Okay.
I was on a prior platform. I won't name the provider, but I paid over $75,000 to build the site.
Wow.
And 2 years after having the site, they said that they were no longer going to be servicing it unless I upgraded. And in order to upgrade custom work, you have to pay another $75,000. So they had very, very poor business practices with how they were conducting themselves.
For that kind of money, too. Wow.
And so, and the other thing that is immediate to me with Sierra is there's minimal custom work that they won't let you do custom work. There's a couple little tweaks they can do if you ask them nicely, but the call to action.
If you ask them nicely, right.
You can pick the color for the call to action button. A friend of mine down in Dallas has orange. Orange is one of the #1 colors to pick. Orange is not the greatest with the black and compass. It starts looking Halloween. So I've gone with the red. Their code is clean. And a lot of times you're going to find the scripts and the code in a lot of the other websites are heavy and they're not best for SEO performance.
Okay.
And so
good to
it's
know.
just,
So Sierra Interactive is really reasonable and really powerful.
Yeah, and then speed is the other thing. If you load my website in GT Metrics or Google Page Speed Insights, it's going to have like an A. And if you put many other websites in those speed metrics, which helps your SEO,
Yeah.
you're going to have like a D to an F. The speed is like one of the number one things, especially as people are becoming more and more savvy with internet searching. And if your speed's taking like 3, 4, 5 seconds to load, you'll lose your visitor.
Wow. What a great conversation. Thank you so much, Joy.